Okay, we're functioning.
99.8, 99-8, 998, 99-8. Fuck, I went too far. Now I don't know what day it is.
Hey, Chef!
5/29, Tuesday, May 21st. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Doe,
close the door.
a deer,
In
a
case it starts
female
snowing.
deer, Ray,
Or there's a tornado.
a little piece of sunshine.
Little
I don't
piece
think
of
that's
sunshine.
how's it actually go?
That's it.
A little bit of sunshine. It smells fart. Did you fart?
No.
Is that mouse?
It could be the mouse.
I think that trap's been there for like 2 years. There's not even bait on that fucking trap.
It doesn't look like it.
There's food all around this motherfucker, and that mouse got caught in a baitless trap. What the hell? Maybe suicide. He knows the tornadoes
That's
are
it.
coming.
It's suicided. Mouse suicide.
Are you ready?
For what? The tornadoes?
Do you remember the first, did you go on, was it a combat patrol?
Like the first combat patrol?
Remember the first time you got shot at? In combat, not in San Diego.
Oh, not? Fuck. But, yes, I do, actually. I do.
Did you think you might get shot at that day?
Probably not. No.
You're like, no, it was one of my own Marines.
No. Probably not. I mean, you don't really think you're going to get shot at.
Okay, so paintball, right?
Okay, paintball.
Paintball, airsoft, BB gun wars.
Yeah.
You kind of knew where you're going to start getting shot at, right? So you kind of would move on up, but then you're like, because you knew behind any tree or rock something was coming. And you knew that the first one you were going to get hit with was the one pumper. But as soon as you shot that dude back, it was going to be right?
Going to be 10 pumps.
So then you're really careful. The first one was kind of like a warning shot. Is that how it was?
No.
When you're like, Jock, did you patrol in on foot or were you in vehicles?
On foot.
Were
You don't worry. You don't. I'm just gonna. This is gonna sound very dumb.
You
don't worry about getting shot when you're in a vehicle.
But that's what
I mean, you just don't. You're in the vehicle.
Most dudes we know that are legitimately fucking damaged were vehicles.
Because here's the problem. So once you put all the shit inside the fucking Humvee that they have to put inside the Humvee now, and just the matter of fact that whoever built the Humvee, or when they designed the Humvee, they designed it for some fucking skinny dude with just an M16 sitting in the seat. They did not design it for anybody with armor and equipment and all this fucking radio gear in there. So when you get into the commander seat in the front seat of a fucking Humvee, you know that no matter what happens, that is where they're going to find your dead body, is in that seat, because you're not getting out of the vehicle fast enough for anything to do anything, because you're just fucking, you're wedged in that motherfucker. It's a, I don't know.
Were you like James Bond in the Swiss Alps on skis when you got shot at, or were you in the deep jungles of fucking Vietnam?
The desert?
Which desert?
It's always the desert.
Which desert?
The sandy one that's over that way.
Africa? Was there a pyramid there?
Oh yeah, Africa. There was pyramids. No, not really.
Did you get shot at in Africa?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Really, when you break it all down, it's all Africa.
Yeah,
everything over there, in the United States, because they're not teaching real history and shit, you know. So you don't realize that France is attached to fucking Africa and Spain.
The pyramid is in Africa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't catch that. Did you get hit?
No.
Did anybody get hit?
Not that first time. No.
Did you give your dudes okay, we're going out, this is real? Did
Yeah, you'd give those talks, especially when I had the rifle platoon. You had to give those talks because they were all 18.
When you came back in, did you give the talk okay, I know you're jocked up, but
no. By the time you get, the way our shit was run, by the time you get back, by the time it's all done, and you've debriefed and you're done, everybody's fucking just done. You're spent.
Tired, ready to go.
Yeah, you're just spent.
Where's the debrief take place? Back on base?
Back on base, yeah. By the time you get back there and you do all that,
How's the debrief usually run?
Good. Just everybody goes over what happened.
What happened?
Yeah.
Who are you telling the story
to? For second platoon, it was all written in the platoon log. So we kept a logbook that had every contact in it.
So you're not on the video conference with the president?
No, not video conference with the president. No.
When I do my debrief, I want the president. I want Putin.
They wouldn't come out there. It was too dangerous. They wouldn't come out there.
That would actually probably make it way more dangerous for you guys.
It was 100% when so CNN came out. They wanted to do
a ride along in a helicopter.
No, CNN came out to Saba and they wanted to do a you know those fucking video messages you see every year at Christmas time where it's like, I'm Specialist Johnson, 142nd Truck Platoon.
Baby, I love you. I know you're fucking our two neighbors right now.
I love you and Merry Christmas. Those things. Well, they wanted to come out to Saba and do that, and they came out, and the guys are like, "All right, we'll do it in the COC." And the CNN guys are like, "No, it'd be better if we were on the roof and Siri was in the background. It'd just be." And they're like,
"People will shoot at you.
We get attacked every night, every fucking like clockwork." You can set your watch to it. They get off work, they grab their shit, they come down, and they're like, no, it's fine. So
I don't really think of them having jobs.
Yeah.
Like, so, what is their job? Like, they empty fucking shit buckets? Like,
in Huseba, the interesting thing about Huseba was,
I picture it as like 1920 fucking Indiana Jones. There's some carpets and some fucking killing some fucking camels and eating them.
It is kind of like that. But they had to have jobs because they would, like, you would all day, nothing would happen. And then right around between 3:30 and 6 o'clock, they would every day, they would shoot mortars. They would come shoot AKs at the base. Every day they would do something where they would attack the base during that time period. And it was my philosophy that they got off work.
That's fucking... I've never heard anybody mention that.
They got off work. They got their guns and shit from their cache site. They attacked us, but they had to be home in time for dinner or their old ladies would have been mad at them.
Because they're the rebels.
Yeah, because they're the rebels. So, but CNN was up on the roof and they're doing their little thing. And I think they did 3 interviews and then they started firing rockets at us. Well... They're fucking aiming rockets like this. You know, they're just like, maybe. And so the rockets are going into Syria.
They're trying to lob them.
Yeah, the fucking rockets are flying over the sea and just going right into Syria and blowing up fucking Syrians and shit. And the CNN crew broke down in 30 seconds and were fucking in a C-square and fucking hauling ass out of there because they didn't want to be there.
What's a C-square?
It's the command version of an Amtrak. And same thing happened, I think it was... It had to have been Christmas time because it was snowing. The battalion commander came up, and he was fucking, you know, doing the slapping everybody on the back. This is the greatest thing ever. And we got attacked. They fucking left so fast. They bugged out of Huseba so fast. Because they were shooting 120 millimeter mortar rounds at us, but they bugged out at Huseba so fast.
Those actually could have hit you.
Oh yeah, that would have fucked you. They would fuck you up. But they bugged out so fast that the sergeant major left his shotgun. He left his shotgun.
Got a lot of pictures with that.
So it was actually the weapons company Gunny Ball that found it. And he's like, hey.
Did anybody come looking for it?
He's like, you're never going to guess what I have. And I go, what? He goes, I got Sergeant Major's shotgun. And I go, what? He goes, yes. He left the Benelli here. And I'm like, oh, just give it to me. I go, give it to me. He goes, what are you going to do with it? I go, I'm going to take the platoon down to the range and I'm going to let every one of those motherfuckers shoot it. We're going to dirty the fuck out of it.
Like an M4?
Yeah, just the Benelli M4. I go, we're going to shoot the shit out of it. And he's like, he was almost about to give it to me. And he's like, man, I feel responsible for it since I found it. I'm like, you pussy. We could.
I never shot an M. Like the M4 happened like after the raid. I never.
Yeah, M4 is kind of.
I had a
kind of new, but it's a fucking Benelli.
I had an M1 Super 90 with all the.
Yeah, it's just that shotgun.
If you've never owned an M1 Super 90, the first thing that happens when you shoot your first 20 rounds, you lose your sight. And then within 100 rounds, your gun rusts. Like, you can literally watch the Benelli rust while you're just holding it. Like, you could be in the desert, 0 humidity, and you'll wake up in the morning and your fucking Benelli will be rusted. We passed a bunch of Oshkosh. What are those actually called, Oshkoshes? Oshkosh is the manufacturer.
Yeah, I don't know
They're cool, the cockpit ones. So we pass one, like we're barreling past them, right? Because we're running at, I don't know, 60 miles an hour, and they're doing like 35.
Yeah, they're doing their top speed.
So we come up, and Cody's like, "Look at that! That's so cool." And I go, "Yeah, that's an Oshkosh. Those are cool." And he goes, "What's on there?" I go, "They look like trailers, and they're just like these frames that fill the whole bed of the truck, and there's probably a dozen stacked high, right? So they're up higher than the cab of the truck." And he goes, "Oh, those are those things. We used to build those. They're basically for sitting like quad cons or cargo on and pushing them up into aircraft. They have these little wheels on them."
Yeah.
He goes, "It's weird. I've never seen just one military vehicle running down the freeway." And we go about 5 minutes. I go, "He must have been the straggler, because there's the rest of them. And you got about 10 of them in a row, man. And about the fifth one in, it's just billowing smoke. And we get up next to it. It's got a grinding sound. I'm like, wherever they're going, he's not going to be making it."
Yeah.
Those things. He goes, "Do they all go that slow?" I go, "Every military vehicle goes." So while you're thinking you've got this dream, you want to buy this fucking...
Well, they just got the new...
The new ones are cool.
The new armor. They just got the new vehicle.
They look like... They look like you could buy a house or you could buy that truck.
Yeah, and they fucking haul ass. And everybody has already fucking rolled them.
Because they go so fast.
Yeah,
so
the armies are the Army Training Center where you would go to learn how to drive that truck. They flipped one, and then I think like 2 weeks later, the Marine Corps flipped one. So they're
going to govern them.
They're going to govern them down because they go too fast.
Gotcha. How was your day?
Good.
So we went up and we're spinning up to build. Well, you know all this. We're spinning up to build the bolt. We'll tell them we're spinning up to build the bolt bags. The biggest delay in the bolt bags is that we have updated the bolt bags, and we've made the bolt bags so cool we didn't have the capability to build the bolt bag the way I wanted to build it. We've got some 3D spacer mesh, and we're implementing that into the shoulder pads. It's a super stiff mesh that's about a 1/2 inch thick. It looks like a mesh grid. It's diamond pattern. When you look at it from the side, it has these fingers, these high fiber fingers that have a very, very high compression weight to them. So you can push on it, but you literally almost can't push it down. So what it does is it allows, even though it's against your shoulder, it acts as a padding. We have a foam, we have a 3/8 foam in there, and then we have the air mesh over it. So it in effect lets air flow between the foam and your body. And what happens is we sandwich all this shit together and sew it, and we have made it, even though we've sewed the edge of it, it is so thick that we cannot physically fit it through our edge taper. We can kind of make it work on a straight, but we can't catch the edge. It just kind of comes out. It looks like shit. So our fix for that is we have bought sergers, and if you don't know what a serger is, it basically takes the edge and whip stitches it around. A serger is like the seam in your shirt, kind of. We've got some heavy duty sergers, and it trims the edge off super clean, and it trims the edge before it gets to it, and then it sews it all and squishes it down. Then once it's serged, we do that on all of them simply so that we can put it through a fucking edge taper. So we have as much time making these fucking shoulder sets as we do almost the rest of the bag.
Yeah.
And we've implemented that into the back of the bag as well as both shoulder sets. So we have these sergers. We just took them up and got them tuned at Nick's shop. And like Nick's a cool dude. His dad has been in the sewing business for like 40 years. Nick took the business over probably a decade ago and really blew the business up. Like
Is
Dad,
he junior?
Yeah. Yeah. So
Nick
sits on 72 acres. Like you have to go through a like prime duck hunting property for a 10-minute, 15-minute drive off the freeway before you even get to their compound. And like you're driving on a road that half the year is probably underwater to get there. Nick is a fucking huge hunter. And he literally has killed Noah's Ark worth of animals. Like, I have a video of it. You guys will see part of it. I'm like, I knew he had a giraffe. I'm like, because I'm not looking at going and hunting a giraffe, but I've wanted a giraffe. And I want to put it downstairs and have its head, I want to cut a hole through the floor and have its head upstairs. So I want to see just how big, like I've been around live giraffes, but they're never at like full stretch. I want to see, I go, Nick, I know you, can I see your giraffe? And he just lights up. Now you're talking about his passion. And I didn't realize, I knew Nick was a big hunter. I was up there a few years ago and saw that Nick had a lot of animals. Nick has literally killed Noah's Ark. Like, I'm like, are you still hunting Africa? He goes, no, I've killed everything in Africa. I'm hunting Alaska now. He's got a fucking male lion, a female lion. He's got 2 giraffes. I mean, everything. I mean, literally, he has killed Noah's Ark 2 by 2. Like Nick's gonna get bored and have to build a fucking ark.
Noah's Ark.
Like,
Yeah.
I really want to go see. I'm worried that it's gonna be like you'll get there and you're like, oh, what a letdown, right? Just not far in Kentucky, man. There is Noah's Ark amusement park.
Yeah, the Ark.
It's like an indoor zoo.
Not very. What I hear is it's not very amusement parky, and it's
very
more
church.
It's more like walking through the Smithsonian.
I like that.
Not, but I'm saying when I say the way, it's not amusement park in the sense that you're not on the teacups going through there.
Yeah.
It's more like Smithsonian. You walk through and there'll be like this plaque that says whatever, and you're looking at 2 giraffes, and then it's another plaque in it. So it's.
I'm gonna do my taxidermy like when I start doing crazy taxidermy, like when I have giraffe money.
Mm-hmm.
Like we got a buddy that had. And they're like, he's got giraffe money. I go, what does that mean? He goes, that motherfucker has so much money that he has giraffes.
Giraffes. That is giraffe.
Not even a breeding pair. He has like 2 gay giraffes. He has 2 male giraffes and one fucks the other one all the time. I'm like, you should probably get a female and make some babies so you can sell that shit.
Yeah, so you can make money.
When I have giraffe money, I'm going to have like taxidermied fucking animals, but I'm going to have like porn. I'm going to have like the giraffe banging the elephant. Like you're going to come in and be like, not only are you going to go, what the fuck, there's a giraffe in here. They're going to be like, that giraffe has a 36-inch fucking heart on.
Why is he fucking an elephant?
I just want his head stuck upstairs with like a little basket of some candy or something.
In his mouth?
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool. All right, I guess we'll read some of these. John, you fly drones. What are your thoughts about the warning issued by Homeland Security saying that the Chinese-made drones like DJI could be, there's your key, could be sending sensitive data to the Chinese government. The U.S. Army banned drones made by DJI 2 years ago over fears that the company was sharing info. Here's what I have to say. I saw some shit about that. What I got from it, I didn't even know that there was any State Department shit over it. They said that they thought the site might be unsecure. So like when you go to DJI to register your drone, you can get what's called DJI Care. I think that's what it's called. You're supposed to do that before you activate your drone. And if you crash your drone in the year, they fucking fix or replace your drone. Obviously, I didn't do that on the first one. The second one, I had it, and I haven't ever exercised the use of that. We have a company. There's a couple local, well, not local, but U.S. companies that fix and repair those drones way faster than you're going to get your shit back from DJI. My understanding was that the concern was that the credit card data you put in there is unsecured. But I mean, it meets all the standards. It doesn't flag anything crazy. My credit cards have really good, and I know Jeff's does too, have really good checks and balances. Yeah. Like we can lock our cards down so that we actually can fucking click a button when we want to use them and it won't run any other time. Our credit card companies that we use have been fucking great. Now the I don't know what sensitive data they're going to get. Fucking the topographical layout of the compound. I mean, Google's pretty much on that. I mean, yeah. that data's out there because they seem to know every fucking little move I make when it's time to pay property taxes. So I don't know, man. I think
depends on what you're doing. Yeah.
My feeling is that's probably some more bullshit with they're doing all this flight height and my drone's constantly fucking updating itself. So like when the president's in town within fucking 400 miles of anywhere, your drone won't even fucking take off. When I'm near an airport, like we're near a controlled airport, so it allows me to click and accept.
That's so weird though when you say that, because like the guy that is gonna, I get they're just trying to keep like regular nutty lefties from trying to kill the president, but the guy who's gonna use a drone to try and kill the president,
you can jailbreak him just like a phone.
He's not gonna be like, you got me with your update. I can't get the thing to fly. Yeah. That's not gonna be the guy.
Yeah, like you can jailbreak those drones. Like the drone is supposed to fly up to 145 feet, but you can accept responsibility and send it to 5. There's another fucking thing I've had the drone will fly to 1,500 feet. I have flown the drone to, well, it doesn't matter how high. The videos look fucking rad though, right? When you turn off your safety parameters, I have 360 degree sensors around it. In theory, it won't fly into a tree. However, it will hit power lines and shit, right? Well, my drone stops on power lines sometimes and then flies into trees. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. When you turn the sensors off, that drone will fly 45 miles an hour. Like it really will. Normal with the sensors on, all the video and shit you've seen at the fastest. We've got several drones. I want to send them up. I want to send a drone up just so we can take shots of the other drone, so you can see how cool some of these are. I haven't seen a lot of guys do any video like that. They fly 15 miles an hour. They'll fly 4.5 miles away. They have a ceiling of like 1,500 feet if you turn all this shit up. But you can jailbreak these things.
Yep.
Like you can reprogram them. But what's happening is Amazon and all those companies want to start using drones. So that's that sweet spot, 97 feet or whatever. That's kind of under aviation aircraft and above all the other shit. So that's why you're seeing all these locks and all these new regulations, because they're going to snatch that. It won't be but a couple years, and we won't even be able to fly these drones legally. Now we fly them for the most part on our own property, or uninhabited areas for the most part. So I'm not real concerned. I mean, we made some cool videos in the graveyard in Nashville, and it just panned around and caught the train, and they do add a depth, just B-roll, but I mean it's very, you just kind of get an eye in the sky. You can just they're neat. So I don't know. I think it's probably, I wouldn't worry with it. If they want your shit, they're gonna get your shit some other manner. I've been using my purple clothes bag as a recovery gear bag, winch controller, straps, tree savers, shackles, etc. in my Jeep for about 2 months now, and it is perfect. It's funny you say that. So I use a clothes bag as well for almost the same thing. We've been using for 10 years in the Suburban, in the F-250. I actually designed that clothes bag to fit under the bench seat in my Super Duty. So my 3 kids, we actually kept all their shit, and then we would change it from summer to winter. So if something ever happened, if the truck broke down, we had to walk. We always had like wet weather gear. We always had cold weather gear, change of shoes, change of clothes, because we're just, in the middle of nowhere. You'd always end up doing something, and somebody would get muddy or wet or something. And that's like I say, guys are like, how's the weather? I go, we had fucking, we were iced in for 2 days and it snowed for 10 days or whatever, but it's like never ever stopped us from doing anything we want to do ever. And that's part of that. So that's what those clothes bags were designed for. I'm curious what kind of winch you have. I'd like to know that. Are you running like a Warren or a Ramsey or a mile marker or a Viper? Like I've got some cheap Vipers just to use on the razors, and I've got a Warren on the big 4-wheeler that just won't retract. We haven't been able to get it to work. I just need to replace it. It'd be good for just like if you ever I've never got stuck, but I don't know. I just like the idea. It looks neat. It looks neat, especially with that blue poly line on there or whatever that is. I hand your cards or colored copies I've made, since I only had a few, to everyone on the trail who asks about it. I also just placed my order for a Multicam Black Day Pack today. Keep up the awesome work and podcast. You guys give me a huge dose of motivation daily. That's TBSS303. Man, thank you so much for taking the time to fucking copy those cards when you were out of them. If you hit me up, we'll be happy to include some more. If you hit me up, I got your order number here. I'll just include a stack of stickers that you can give to people on the trail. We really appreciate that. Got pulled for a quarterly random drug test at work today. Guess we'll find out if farm extract CBD is THC free or not. Eric Scow.
That's not the time to find out.
So they have a THC free and they have a THC variant, which I'm sure having ordered from their website. When I was saying all that, it looks like I was wrong, and I hope that you're not fucked up over that. But we have been hearing, like I heard Spearco had some people call in. There is a fucking THC safe that you cannot pop on a test, and then there are other versions like the ones that we are using. Apparently, we would fail a drug test. We're gonna be like, surprise, motherfucker! Here's your drug test.
Yeah, surprise. Surprise!
Surprise, surprise, surprise. Let's hear Chef's story on how he came to be the Titan of Tri-Tip.
Yeah, he is the Titan of Tri-Tip.
He actually has a pretty good story. He worked at a barbecue place for like 7 years. And we'll get him to tell it eventually. But what sticks in my head is he worked for this dude who would actually freeze the meat prior to doing his infusion and marinade prior to cooking it. And he said that by freezing it, and it was only at a temperature for like 2 hours, it busts the capillaries in the meat, which allow all that, the moisture and the flavoring to soak into it. Like Josh has some there's some real technique. Like he's not a cook. Like people come in, they're like, oh, you got lunch. Like this isn't just any lunch.
Yeah, no.
Like you have no idea the skill that is in there.
Skill level that's in the kitchen right now.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And like when I ask him, not because like I'm testing him, like I genuinely want to know. And like the reasoning behind like just the simplest shit, like there is a reason behind every fucking method that happens, every piece of the process. And a lot of them, if you reverse them, if you do step 3 before 2, you get a totally different outcome. If Joe Rogan or Peterson are too much, shit, that makes me Attila the Hun. Someone bought up Slick 50 being snake oil, it may be. I swear by Lucas Oil Stabilizer. I run all my cars and trucks into the 200 plus mileage. Maybe it's snake oil, but I like it. Lucas Oil puts a lot of money into the racing programs. You really see them out there running a lot of teams and stuff. John, you should call the Practical Preppers and have them give you a score like they did for Doomsday Preppers and just have a podcast on it. You could give all the reasons it should be higher and what you plan to work on. So every day, we actually know some of the judges from that. Some of them are pretty often here. There's some here quite a bit, actually. As you know, a lot of that was bullshit. Like there were some dudes that really had their shit together. And they had to find something just to have the show. They filmed, you guys may or may not know, they actually filmed an episode of Doomsday Preppers with TAC Response. They have never filmed more than a day and a half on site. They were here in Camden for 3 days. They've never used multiple cameras. They brought 2 cameras. They had 3 different sound guys. Like, it was very, very scripted. Like, they tried to get James to say a lot of shit, and he's like, not only am I not saying that word, I'm not saying that. Like when they wanted him to say, when me and my militia take over this town, he goes, not only am I not saying that, I'm not even going to say that word so that you can't take what I said and mix it around. And she was trying her damnedest. And the chick that produced the show was a fucking gun hater. I mean, like literally hated the guns. Like they wanted an action shot. She's like, okay, take the mags out, finger out of the trigger well. He's like, we wouldn't do that. We're not going to do that. And I was standing with the sound guys, and I go, man, if they would just turn these dudes, they're like, this is fucking cool. They were out leaping and bounding. They had a field on fire and shit. Kind of like contractor drills for the cars. And the guys are like, man, this is so cool. I go, dude, this is some bullshit. If they turn these guys loose and just let them do what they really do, I go, this field's usually on fire. He goes, what? I go, yeah, they had to have a fucking tanker plane come out here and put these fires out. Like this here, this is some bullshit. Like, this is like some quarter speed shit. If you'd let them run the way they wanted to run. So they filmed in our shop for about 8 hours. And that was super scripted. It was not at all how we would do things. We made this rig, so when they took over the town, and like, it was fucking bullshit.
They gotta have drama.
And then she's running around in my shop. She's running around in the shop barefooted. And I'm like, hey, you're going to slip on these tiles in here. And she just fucking blew past me. And about 10 minutes later, she slipped, and her fingers were in one of these racks. And it caught her fingers and snapped them. Like, I was where Jeff was when she ran past me. Like, I felt her fingers break, the shock of it through my body. And I go, serves that cunt right. And James goes, you're wired for sound. I'm like, oh shit. So she heard when I said that. And that episode never came out. They never aired that. And it was hands down, all the dudes that fucking filmed it, all the sound guys, they're like, this is the best shit we have seen. It is fucking insane. So, I don't know. Maybe James will, at one point, maybe we'll actually do something a little more real, you know? James has made a lot of videos though. Like you can find a lot of material out there. He was doing a lot of, like when I moved here, I'm like, you have any food put away? He's like, no, I ain't got no damn food. What the fuck would I want any food for? I got bullet, you know, that kind of shit. And then like flip the switch 5 years and James is like having to get another fucking building to fucking put preps and shit in. So that's the deal. But those practical prepper guys, like you've seen some videos with us with some of those anonymous dudes in our videos. John, you should call the oh, you did it twice.
Yeah.
John, three. John, you 4. Man, what? You just killed fucking 4 of my pages. Oh. Oi. Cold-blooded family. Oi. Robert Lovendy. He had a lot to say right here. Wow. Sherman tank comment. The Germans called Shermans. The Tommy cookers, the Tommy cookers, so that should speak for itself. Great appearance by Le Chef. And I'm sure it will only get better from here. Looks like the Swiss just voted for stricter gun laws because the EU demanded it from them because they are part of the shenanigan. Shenzhen. It is just insane. There is next to no gun crime despite loads of gun ownership. Actually very little crime at all. So, conspiracy theory is that the UN wants to disarm the world. They want one world government, and that the United States would be the problem, and that's why they're pushing all of the gun laws. While we're on that, let me pause right here. Why don't you repeat what you were talking earlier about the fucking this morning? How do we get one world government?
So I have these crazy theories of mine.
Because like. If I'd have said to Jeff like 3 years ago, they want one world government, I think Jeff would have been like, nah, this is just some fucking liberal democratic bullshit. But like, the more time goes on, like the crazy shit I used to say, I didn't really say it out loud, you know, tinfoil hat shit, right? But all the shit we used to make fun of and call those dudes tinfoil hats, I was probably one of them. All that shit like came to fruition. Like that is all actually happened.
So my thing is, with the Soviet Union collapsing, you don't need the military-industrial machine that we had set up in the United States. You don't need to spend billions and billions of dollars on all this equipment if we are not fighting the Red Menace. So the thing you have to do is you have to create an enemy, a boogeyman. And by destabilizing the Middle East, which is what we've done, we've destabilized every government within the Middle East, outside of the governments that control the oil.
Good news though, tourism over there is cheap now.
Yeah, outside of the OPEC. If you are outside of OPEC, we have not destabilized your country. Think about that. Saudi Arabia is just as bad.
Something just came out today that Saudi Arabia is pushing the U.S. very hard to invade Iran.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia is just as bad, human rights violations as Iraq was. But we're not going to destabilize
I think
OPEC.
It was probably worse in a lot of cases.
Yeah, it could have been. OPEC. But you have to destabilize the Middle East in order to keep the military-industrial machine going. It's why we're spending more on... we're actually spending more on defense now than we were during World War II. By destabilizing the Middle East and creating that boogeyman, everybody's willing to keep giving the Defense Department more and more money. That was my kind of go-to thing, that it's just to support the industrial military machine. But the reality is, and I've been thinking now, is if you look at the countries that we have actually gone after, that we have helped destabilize, Iraq, Syria, Libya, and now we're talking Iran. What those countries all have in common is they're not part of OPEC. And because they're not part of OPEC, that in a free world economy, they could sell their oil for whatever price they want to whoever they wanted in the world, which includes China and Russia. We don't really get oil from that part of the world anymore. And because we don't get oil from that part of the world, it doesn't really matter what happens to that oil unless you want to control the world. So if we destabilize those countries and ruin those governments, to include Iran, all those countries will fall under, eventually they will fall under the OPEC control. OPEC is run by the petrodollar, which means the United States of America. So if you wanted a one world government, the best way to do that would be the best way to do that would be to create a military industrial machine that no one in the world could challenge, and then control all the world's oil. It's the interesting thing that the reason why we want to be in the reason why we want to keep troops in Syria is actually to finish a pipeline that will send oil into Europe. The reason why we need to send that oil into Europe is because we need to get Russia out of Europe. So if we can control all the oil in the Middle East, and we can start pumping oil into Europe, the Russian economy will slowly start to retract because we're supplying all the oil to the Middle East, or we're supplying all the oil to Europe. So their economy will start to subtract, which will make them irrelevant. The same thing could be said about China.
What happens when you make them irrelevant, though? That makes them more dangerous.
It does make them more dangerous, but here's the thing. Especially if you're a one world government, if you're thinking about one world government, the only way you have a one world government is if you beat up all the bullies. There's only two bullies left in the world. Well, there's three. There's us, there's China, and there's Russia. Those are the only three countries in the world that are trying to control the world. Russia is trying to annex back the Soviet Union. China is doing everything it can to annex Africa. Pay attention to what's going on in Africa. And we obviously are trying to control the Middle East, which is, from a tactical perspective, it's the place to control. Because if you control the oil, you control the world. So, destabilizing Iran to a point where we have to go to war and crush them, it's probably in the game plan. It's in the game plan of having a one world government. Even if everybody agreed, let's say the Russians and the Chinese and everybody agreed that we were going to have a one world government, who do you think would enforce it? It would have to be the country with the greatest military that this planet has ever seen, and that would be America. And if you are enforcing the rule of law, then you are going to create the rule of law. Those countries will be subservient to us.
I think I'd go a little further to say that we are the teeth of Saudi Arabia.
Oh, we're the teeth. I mean, that's,
I think Saudi Arabia controls, and I think we are the teeth of Saudi Arabia. Look at they just built a $4 trillion city, right, in Saudi Arabia, out in the desert in the middle of nowhere. It's all self-sustained. It's lush gardens. It is literally like it's the modern day Atlantis is what it is. And Trump has been there. There's video of Trump there. Like when you look at the video and the pictures of this place, it is literally New World one world government shit. It's all I see. It's literally like it's like when they built that crazy ass airport with all the fucking crazy shit in Colorado.
Yeah.
It's like that was a mini test for this. Like it is fucking like YouTube that shit. There is some fucking insane shit around there. Like if we have aliens in the fucking in the planet, right? If there's some aliens here, they're chilling there. They're hanging out. Like when you see, like, just go look at that shit. It is fucking crazy.
So I don't know. That's my take on it now. Is that when you hear people talking about the new order or a one world government, we're going to be the dominant force that's going to push that thing. That's going to make that happen. The EU is already ripe for the taking, right? They've already established all their connections. If the United States continues down the path that it is going down in the Middle East, and we end up controlling 90% of the world's oil, the fucking European Union will give us whatever concessions we want. they will give us whatever concessions they want. Russia just I think it was 3 years ago, Russia just, they just turned the dial on their pipeline for natural gas. They just turned it down for the European Union. They just turned it down a little bit. And the European Union was like, you can fucking do whatever you want in Crimea. We're not going to fucking do anything. You can annex them. You can do whatever the fuck you want. Just turn the heat back on. So, I think that's the play. The play is control the oil, and really control the oil in the Middle East. You know, I do not believe that Saudi Arabia... I don't believe that Saudi Arabia... I don't believe that Saudi Arabia is really pulling any strings. I believe that we allow them to have as much money as we allow them to have, so they can buy all the toys and they can run around and pretend like they're the princes of the world. But in the sense that we know that
you got a lot of dudes there getting money that don't have to work.
Yeah,
and they're literally bored. Like, they are bored.
Oh yeah, really bored.
That's why the toys are so crazy. They're trying to one up each other. They are bored to death. Like, there are a lot of dudes over there that reach out to dudes doing shit here in the United States, YouTube guys, trophy truck guys, and buggies, and like they buy those toys and fly them out, and then they come out and do videos and shit. Look at some of the videos on the big cats on Instagram that are happening in Iraq and Saudi Arabia and stuff. Like, these dudes are just bored, so they're just literally one up.
If you want to,
they're out of shit to do.
If you have something in your life that is crazy as fuck, like if there's something that
it's commonplace
that's crazy as fuck, and you want to do it, there is a prince in Saudi Arabia that will pay you a royal sum to go do it. Like, I don't know if you've seen. I'm sure you've all seen the
like, you could go there and have a fucking great time.
Yeah.
Like, they're just some dudes with money. I mean, there's some shit too, but there's just a lot of dudes there that, like, they don't hate the United States. It's just like going to fucking Russia. Russians, you go to Russia, Russian people fucking love American people. Like, especially, like, they all want the United States. They don't have a job. They have a lot of money, and they're fucking bored.
But like the jet wing suits, you see the guys that have the little turbine jet wings.
Have you seen the new hand ones?
Yeah, that's all. If they're flying somewhere, they're flying over there. The Saudis love those guys, and they're always flying those fucking things in between buildings and doing all kinds of shit that
all the Red Bull shit.
Yeah, there is no way they could do here in the United States.
Yeah.
Same thing when the wingsuits were really big. Those guys were jumping the real buildings over there and fucking jumping from building, doing shit that you couldn't even think about doing here. But like John says, they're bored, and when everybody's rich, they're all trying to outdo the other guy.
Like here in the United States, like you want the cool clothes and the cool car to get the girlfriend in high school to get her attention. It's the same shit going on over there. Like,
except they're not allowed to look at girls.
Every one of them was like, I got a lion. Like, the leopard's the cool thing over there. That's the real thing.
I got a lion. I got something that's in, and we're not talking about like I have it in my house in a cage. We're talking about I'm driving down the freeway and this motherfucking cheetah is chilling in the passenger seat.
Yeah.
That kind of shit.
My buddy Alan, we went to his birthday party at Ruth Chris, and it was a surprise birthday party. And we're at a long ass table, and I'm sitting with like a bunch of like pro bodybuilders, right? Like, I don't know. I know that I'm in the middle of something that I am not versed in. Like, I know some of the people at the table just because I've met them, right? But there's dudes, and they're talking about, I just got back from fucking Russia, and I did a tour over there, and I launched my protein, my supplement company, and I was in Switzerland, and I was I'm getting ready to fucking compete in the Mr. Olympia, and I'm like, oh, you have a protein company? Like, what's the name of your company? Like, and he's looking at me like, motherfucker, who the fuck are you?
Yeah, how do you not know?
And it's Kevin Levron. Like, he's got a protein company. He literally just competed in Mr. Olympia. Like, he's on the cover of every fucking magazine in the world. I didn't know who he was, you know? Fucking super nice dude. But he's talking to this other dude who's, like, literally the biggest human being I've ever seen in my life. Like, I'm like, holy fuck. So they're talking, and he's like, don't they hate you in Russia? Like, he's like, no, that's some bullshit. He goes, we go to Russia, we have a wonderful time. They welcome us. Everybody is happy to see us. They're just hungry for American culture. Like, I didn't ever feel in danger. Like, we went out, like, they fucking party all night long.
Yeah, they do party.
And he's like, it's just like our perception of other countries, like, every time I've been there, it is never what that perception is. Now, I'm sure it's different, like, when you go some of the places, Middle East and the bazaars and, like, fucking India and shit. Like Justin went to India, and India seems to be exactly how you fucking think India is. Like, it is absolutely out of fucking control.
They got too many people there.
Yeah, like, you see them trying to get on trains and shit. Like, they're literally holding on to the outside edge of a train, and every now and then one of them hits a fucking pole and it kills them.
Gone.
Yeah. Every morning. So guess we can... It's just insane. There is next to no gun crime despite loads of gun ownership. Actually, very little crime at all. Guess we can kiss that strong sense of Swiss independence goodbye. Ordered an orange tool bag after barely missing the regular orange tool bags. Can't wait for it to be shipped and arrive. I would assume that by now you probably have it
already.
Unless it was Mother's Day. Like, we just built all the free items for Mother's Day, so, like, we're gonna have a fucking flood for the next 3 days of Mother's Day item shipping. Like, we won't be able to ship enough of them each day. We'll run out of time to ship them. Along the heels of that, right now we have 2 label printers to print and ship orders. We have just ordered a 3rd, so we'll be able to now run 3 shipping stations simultaneously to get orders out quicker and when things like that happen. The orange tool bags we actually built. I actually fucked that up. Guys send me an email. I'm like, send me an email, you know, what you want. And dude's like, hey, I want a large orange tool bag. Well, I wrote it down as orange tool bag. So the boys built fucking 24 orange tool bags, which we sold in...
Yeah, those went quick.
I'm like, I built 24. Nobody's going to buy these. We sold them in like fucking 5 minutes, probably. Literally, I posted them on Instagram and MeWe, and before I got them to Facebook, they were like sold out. So we went back and ran orange, and then somebody else was like, hey, will you make... We ran large tool bags, and then somebody's like, well, I missed this, so we're running orange ones again. And then we've got Marpat multicam black red handles, Typhon red thread. We have a lot of them going. We're building up a lot of extras. A few of those will go up for sale, but we're running a lot of extra shit right now to take to Blade Show with us. So if you're at Blade Show, there will be shit at Blade Show you will only be able to get at Blade Show.
Yeah.
It's a trip. Like, we will go in so heavy to Blade Show. I'm like, man, there's no way we're going to sell this. It'll sell when we get back. And we come back every time with just empty vehicles. When we go to Blade Show, we take a big ass Sprinter van, like either the new Ford one or a Dodge one. We have not used any Mercedes stuff. Although I saw a Mercedes van today at the gas station.
It was nice, wasn't it?
Dude, I've never seen one so big. So they have a 3/4 ton. It's a dually in the back. Pierre says that dudes will run like fucking 3,500 pounds of cargo in them. This thing was longer, taller, and wide. It was enormous, man. It had to be a Homeland truck or something, but it wasn't black like most of them. It's a white van, had wigwags all over it, down both sides like a command center, and had fucking probably 20 antennas on the roof, little stubbies, and it was just 2 dudes driving it. I'm like, and then they're
just stealing everybody's cell phone conversations.
Yeah, I don't know what they were doing, man, but it was fucking. It had like just steel black rims, but it had a serious package on the outside, whatever that was. So we roll in with that filled to the brim, and then we usually
I'm stuffing stuff behind the seats, and
then we usually take a full size truck, just with folding lid bins, like all these bins in here, full of belts. Like, we will have thousands of belts. That truck will have nothing but belts in it, and then we'll kind of jam some shit into the side, and we'll take a whole roll of Cordura and we'll cut that up and use it as table covers. And then we'll take the Excursion totally full of gear and just stuff, and then we'll take usually like a full-size SUV, an Escalade or Tahoe or something, and that usually has all like the personal shit in it.
And no matter what, it's changed every time. So, what if would this be my fourth blade show? Fourth blade show? So every year there'll be something like, there'll be something, because we'll be packing and they'll be like, what about these mag pouches, John? And he'll go, nobody's gonna buy it. Nobody's gonna buy a patrol mag pouch at Blade Show. Leave those here, and I'll leave them. And it's like the first thing. Hey, you got any patrol mag pouches? I'm like, no, we don't.
No, this is Blade Show.
This is Blade Show.
Not Gun Show.
And then the next year, we'll be doing the same thing, and I'll be like, I got these triple pistol mags. Should we take them? And he's like, no, nobody's gonna buy that shit. This is Blade Show.
The problem is we have 10 feet by 30 feet of space.
We don't have. We always take too much stuff. But it's just funny that the one thing, it's always that one thing that somebody.
We don't ever have enough room to display the stuff.
Yeah, that's the big problem.
Every table we have is full of bins of T-shirts and belts. We have 20 of these bins full of belts, and we'll come back with like 20 belts, maybe. Like, we will sell every single belt. We will sell every chest rig. So this year we started building some stuff in some colors we've never done before. We're doing some co-branded Strider stuff. That the only place you can get that shit is at Blade Show. We're doing some colors and stuff that you'll only be able to get at Blade Show. And we usually do the big items. Like, I'm always surprised how fast we sell out of that shit. Like, we literally, Blade Show opens Friday, and dudes like get off work Friday and come to Blade Show. Well, Blade Show's already happened Friday, so dudes roll into town Saturday, and like the shit's already sold out. Like, it's gone. So this year we're focusing on all of our big items, backpacks and big bags and stuff. But we're also taking some smaller stuff that'll be co-branded, some Blade Show only stuff, both SOE Strider stuff. And then we got, friends companies and shit that we do some co-brand stuff with here and there. We're going to do a Jade Marsh, JDM45 special promotion. Jade's not aware of that, so you might want to start poking Jade if you know Jade and ask him, hey, I heard there's some secrets going on.
You might want to ask him about his special promotion.
Jade, we love Jade. Man, I've known Jade for, God, it's got to be 20 years now.
I'd like to see him in a tuxedo.
Ooh, I bet he looks good in a suit. I've never seen him in a tuxedo. It's very James, like I think of him like Jade as James Bond. Which one do you think he'd be? I see him kind of as like the Willem Neeson James Bond.
A newer James Bond?
Yeah, current, or whoever the current James Bond is. If you had to describe him, what comes to mind? Really, really good hair.
He's got lovely hair.
You look at his shoes. You look at his shoes and you're like, not really my style, but those look really expensive.
Yeah. He always, even when he's just Jade. He's always.
I just saw a post. I saw it.
Illinois. I don't know no motherfuckers in Illinois.
It popped up. I had a couple from Colorado today, and I'm like, what the fuck do you want? And they never reply back. I saw a post he made this morning, came up, said, hey, thanks for not shooting my truck. Always fun to go shooting, even more fun after drinking. Thanks for not blasting my truck or something. I don't know who he was talking to. Ordered an orange large tool bag. Can't wait for it to be shipped. So looks like Barr and Barnum. Not sure about the name. Investigation into FISA warrants so far appear to show the FISA process was corrupted, and people will go down for it like Comey, Brennan, and Clapper. They already started shifting blame to each other, so that is a good sign. Any thoughts, Skully and John? Yeah, my thought is none of them are going to fucking jail.
None of them are going to jail. None of them are going to go to jail. None of them are going to get called back
All your wishes about Hillary going...
None of that's going to happen.
The only thing that's ever going to happen to Hillary is somebody fucking close... It'll have to be somebody close to her that fucking smokes her ass.
None of that's going to happen. The FISA thing is not... It's going to be just... Here's the thing. All of it is going to be just gray enough that no one is going to take it to task. It's kind of the reason why the Democrats are keeping Barr on his toes about impeaching him, because as long as they keep Barr on his toes, Barr's the only one that would be able to do anything about that shit. He's going to be defending himself against the Democrats. They really only have to go about, I mean, think about it. They really only have to go about 6 more months, and then all politics is over. Everybody's getting ready for the election. Nobody's going to be fucking around with that shit. And when the Democratic president gets elected, all those people are getting a pass. So it's not going to happen. There's just not going to happen.
They already started shifting blame to each other, so that's a good sign. Any thoughts, John and Skully? Will they and others actually do jail time? I love seeing a system who is sturdy enough to eventually expose things like this instead of being covered up, which I guess would have happened if Hillary got in. Love the podcast as always, even if the numbering got a bit weird. Smiley face. Congrats on podcast 100. There was no 100 yet. Quite an achievement, especially seeing the quality of entertainment is very consistent and even going up. Sorry, last question, John. Why would you get a Range Rover, which are prone to break down and huge bills, instead of a Cayenne, which is just awesome, at least the S and the turbo? So I bought a Range Rover because of rap music. That's literally why I bought the Range Rover. I found one on eBay at a Ferrari dealer in Florida. I could afford it. It was awesome, and it just had fucking black rims. Most Range Rovers come with fucking stupid ass silver rims. And if you haven't looked at Range Rovers, to find a black Range Rover with black interior is few and far between. I got a black on black truck. It showed up like 5 days later on a flatbed, and they dropped it off, and it was fucking awesome. Loved it. I'd never owned a shiftable truck like that. Supercharged. I'd never owned a supercharged vehicle. It was beautiful. Heated seats, everything. I still have it. I've done some stuff to it, and every time you need to do anything to it, the most minuscule little thing costs $1,000. You could, if I had to take it to the dealer to put washer fluid in it, it would be $1,000. If I need brake pads, it's $1,000. If my tail light goes out, it's $1,000. I didn't own any Porsches at the time. I have since driven. I own 2 Porsches. Both of them are S models. I drove a Cayenne. When you go out on the tracks in Vegas, they take you for all your pre-driver laps in a Porsche Cayenne, and they turn way faster laps in those fucking Porsche Cayennes than you'll turn in anything. A Superleggera, Lambo, a 458, a 430, an Aventador. I've driven everything. I drove their whole entire inventory. We took fucking 6-7 people to Vegas with us. We fucking literally drove everything they had. I was so tired of driving. I'm like, here, why don't you drive this motherfucker? Like, I wanted to buy one of those cars, so I'm like, where can I go see one of these? So we literally went to Vegas. I'm like, let's go drive these cars. You don't know fucking dick about those cars, because the driver next to you is a race car driver, and he's like, faster, 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 stop, 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 stop. And like, the 430 was the first car I drove, so when you're stopping, it's chattering like the rear end. When you go to the 458, it just keeps accelerating. And you have to make a right-hand turn, like 90 degrees to the left. And you're like, boom, 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 bah, 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 bah. And then you're like on the brakes. And he's like, more brake, more brake. Like, you were standing up with your ass off the fucking seat, feet on the brakes, like trying to make that turn. So, like, you don't know where the fucking air conditioning vents are. You don't know where the turn signals are. Like, am I going to break these fucking paddle shifters off of this motherfucker? Because I broke them off on their fucking demo thing. I broke that. I'm like, hey, is this supposed to come off? It's carbon fiber. Can I keep it? It's pretty neat.
Can I keep it?
So it's cool. But no matter, like, I have hundreds of laps on that track. Like, I know that track right now. I can picture both tracks in my head. And the dudes that work there fucking turn way faster laps in that fucking Porsche Cayenne minivan than I do. The new Cayennes are beautiful. The Macans are nice. The new Cayennes, especially the turbo models and the S models, they're very updated. The new Panameras are fucking amazing. The tail fin comes up and comes out. The LED markers on them. Beautiful car. Way different car than my Panamera. Like, the stuff Porsche's done in the last couple of years, man, they're like fucking spaceships. The lines on them are amazing.
They still don't have a spare tire.
They still don't have a spare tire. But when you buy a newer Porsche, like, good news, like Porsche sends a dude. When you have a Mercedes and you need to have a problem, Mercedes sends a dude. Drove a Cayenne in Finland, Arctic Circle, desert in Dubai, Porsche racetrack off-road in Leipzig, and the cars are just man, you sound like somebody I want to be fucking hanging out with. Obviously expensive cars, but reliable and don't really break down. You're 100% right. So the buy-in on a Porsche is high, but you're getting an animal that you can literally daily drive. Like you can beat the Porsche. The Porsche truly is a daily driver. Lamborghini is kind of a raging bull. Ferrari is a fucking finicky show pony. Like it's only going to run on certain days. The moon has to be right in the sky. You got to fucking blow the gas, and you have to make it spin to the left instead of the right when it goes in the fuel tank. If you truly want a driver, man, the Porsches are a driver, and you have a service network with Porsche that is literally fucking everywhere. Like there's 2 Porsche dealers in the Nashville area here, so, and there's a Porsche dealer, in Memphis. Like those are something you truly can drive. John, I ordered some of the CBD from Pharma extracts to try out over the next month or so. Thank you for the podcast. Good information all around. Kubota is not owned by Fiat. It's its own entity. So on the way, the Pharma extract stuff, it hands down works. If it didn't, I would tell you it didn't work. Those dudes react very fast. They will ship your shit. I'd like to hear back from anybody that's used it, how it's worked for you. Kubota, again, I'm heading up to Jackson. I'm like, tractor dealers near me.
Let's pop in.
Kubota, so let's pop in. Oh, we don't have any skid steers. We're not a construction dealer.
Construction dealer.
I'm like, I see you have X marks. Do you have any X mark walk behinds? Yeah, they're outside. So I go out there. This is the dude telling me. I go out there and there's I'm like, none of these are here. So the chick comes out. She's like, can I help you find it? And she was very cool. Like, but they didn't have fucking anything that I needed. So I guess I'm
Kubota
back.
dealer had X marks?
Yeah. Well, it's not. It's like some family name, but it's obviously a Kubota. They had hundreds of Kubotas there. No Kubota skid steers. They had all the way up to like the fucking 95 horsepower thing like Jack has, down to like some little baby ones I'd never seen. And then they had a lot of X-Mark mowers, like a lot of shit I've never seen by X-Mark, but they didn't have. They had the stand-ons, but I just want that I just need a damn 21-inch fucking lawnmower, and I don't want to buy another Home Depot.
Home Depot, yeah.
So that's I guess I'm gonna have to go with Coleman tractor. Even though that shitty service we got out of Paris, that's a Coleman tractor.
That's Coleman. Oh yeah, that's Coleman tractor. Yeah, yeah.
So I know they had like when I was in Franklin.
Whoever owns Coleman tractor, I know you got 3 places, but you guys are not on the ball.
Not at all on the ball, and like I'm a fucking really easy customer. I mean, am I not?
Yeah, super easy.
I think I am. And when we spend money, like we're loyal. Like we are very, very fucking brand loyal and fucking like dealer loyal, pretty much.
I wonder how that works.
So in Franklin, there's a Kubota dealer. Like downtown historic Franklin, and they have a fucking lot of inventory, a lot, and they have like 4 or 5 skid steers. I need a trailer. But like when you buy like a 30-foot trailer,
they'll deliver the motherfucker.
They will, but like when you buy a 30-foot, because we need a big trailer.
Yeah.
But when you buy a big trailer, you can get like a big trailer for like $5,000. But then when you talk about putting a tractor on it, you need like the $10,000 trailer. And then they're like, these ramps are heavy. For another $10,000, you can get this ass in that just lowers down on its own. Before you know it, you've got more trailer than all the shit you're putting on it cost. Hey Skully, how do you organize your gun safe? Are you a get it in where it fits, or do you have a rack and whatnot for pistols? Thanks, have a good one. Let me answer first. I have not seen inside Jeff's gun safes, but I'll bet you Jeff has so much shit in those fucking gun safes, he has pulled everything out, and I'll bet you for every gun pointing up, he has a gun pointing down wedged in there.
Okay. So what's that rack system?
Galotech.
Yep, Galotech.
Galotech. Send us some shit.
John?
We will I'm not even going to put guns on it. I will have so many motherfuckers buying Galactic shit to put other shit on. I'll use it for my shoe racks. I have 120 pairs of Solomons. I will find a way to display all my chicks' purses, all the shit. We'll have bitches with $20,000 handbags hanging them on Galotech. Plus, Jeff already bought a bunch of Galotech shit. Rob Bailey's showing your shit off. We'll do way more than Rob does.
Yeah, I do have 2 safes that have Galotech in it. One was supposed to be
in the
like
safes, huh?
Yeah, in the safe.
On the doors or
in the back of the safe.
Back?
Yeah. So one of them was going to be like my pistol safe, and then I had some rifles set up here, but all the pistol and rifle racks are full, and yes, there are guns that are.
I knew it.
It's packed. Like when I close the door on my safe, I'm like, yeah. So
I'll bet Jeff has sawed pistol grips off his AR-15.
No. I will figure out
so he can fit more in.
I will figure out. I'm pretty good at packing safes. I will figure it out, but at the current moment,
Wouldn't it be nice?
I'm toying around with having a storm shelter built.
Wouldn't it be nice if you just had a room that was a safe?
It would be fucking awesome, and that was the original.
Would you still use safes?
Dude, that was the original plan.
Would you keep safes in your safe room?
I mean, I think I would keep ammo
in safes.
Why? I don't know.
It's heavy. They're not gonna steal that shit.
I don't know. I mean, I have so many safes. If I make a room that I can put all the guns up in, then I'm just gonna have all these fucking safes.
No.
With nothing in them.
No, you'll be like, this gun doesn't rate being in the safe room.
Yeah, I might have to do that. Joe was kind of looking at the area I was thinking about building this, and he's like,
"Can he do it?"
No. I have to have somebody come in and do it. But
I would bring somebody from California.
Well, my thought is...
I say that just so that whoever comes and builds your shit is not a local that's telling the locals about where your shit is.
I was actually saying, like, it has to be like somebody from Nashville or...
We got a dude. The dude gets here the day we leave to go to Blade Show. We have a contractor coming in from Atlanta to finish these bathrooms out.
Oh, that'll be cool. But even Joe, like, it's the area where this is at. It's 14 by 25. It's 14 feet by 25.
It's pretty good size, man.
It's pretty good. Yeah, real good size. I look at it and I'm like,
that's the size of that feed house out there.
I look at it and I'm like, oh yeah, this is plenty. This is plenty of room. I'll Galotech the whole thing, and
he's like,
all the guns are.
Your safes won't even fit in here.
And Joe's like, there's no fucking way. And I go, what do you mean? He goes, it has to be bigger. I go, no, that's plenty of room. You know, I'll use the racks.
Why don't you just get rid of that fucking back living room back there?
Shit, I don't know. I'd like to.
Who sits in there? Just you, right?
Yeah. The problem is
that's your side of the house.
Yes, but I've already had this conversation with the General Jack Garland, and the General Jack Garland said, which makes sense. He's like, it'd be 100% easier and cheaper to make a room in a space that's not already inside the house than trying to convert something in the house to do the same thing.
Let's just take a chainsaw.
Chainsaw, okay. I got one of those. Battery powered, 40 watt DeWalt.
Cut the front wall.
Cut the front wall.
The back wall and the roof, and we'll take a tractor and just pull that side of the house off.
Pull that side of the house off, and then
now you can just make a new side of that house.
New side of the house, yeah.
They got some thick plastic. We could fucking keep.
I got a pretty good idea of where I'm gonna put it and what I'm gonna do. So
cool.
It's just finding somebody. Like we have I don't want to say we have a concrete guy because he hasn't done any concrete for us, but the concrete guy in Waverly came out and graded and fixed my driveway, and then
how is he?
He's really good, and was going to dig out.
So he has equipment and shit, and can do culverts, and
he was going to dig out my. Where on the side of my garage, I got that spot where you can kind of park, where an RV could be parked.
Where you had the Jeep at.
Where I had the Jeep at. Well, it's too short for my fifth wheel to go under there. I'm like,
you got to raise
it
or lower the ground.
I'm like a foot too short. So he came out and dug it. He came out and was digging it out.
Did that not affect
and
those
now
poles there?
I'm fucking no.
Pond.
Nope, it's good because the way he graded everything, he made it good, but he couldn't go down far enough because that's where my power line comes in into that box there. So he's like, we can't go down a foot. We can only go down 6 inches, so it's not going to work. But he was gonna concrete all that in and make me a concrete pad on the side of it, but
you really need to
I just didn't do it.
How many poles support that? How many poles come down into the ground?
3.
3 on each side?
No, because it's attached to the garage, so I only have 3.
Fuck, okay.
That's the problem.
I was gonna say we just need to fucking pull some poles out, put taller poles on it.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is it's attached to the garage.
I know you don't want to do that, man, but that's gonna be the fucking cheapest fix.
Well, it's A-framed, right? So it comes down like this, and all this area. I feel like I should be able to take the roof. I should be able to take the roof of the A-frame off, and that will give me the foot that I need, and then it'll just be exposed truck. But I don't know if that will work or not. Anyways, those are
That's kind of what I want to out the back.
My
door,
privilege problems.
Out the back door, I want to just basically build like an awning, like a fucking lean-to, but coming this way. So when you all the way to the shipping containers.
Gotcha.
So that when we put all the 4-wheelers and razors and shit out there, they're just not getting beat on by the sun.
Yeah.
And then pour concrete in there so that when you drive in right there, we can fucking pressure wash all that bullshit off before it fucking comes in the garage.
Yeah, that's what I've been looking at around my place too, because I've been cleaning the tractor off before I put it in the barn.
That'll end fast.
But
I did that bullshit with the mower for a while.
But I'm like, you know what? What I really need is just like we talked about back here. I need a concrete pad that I can just drive up on and
like a car wash
and do it. Yeah.
Literally like a car wash. And then I want to rip this little fucking awning out here.
Mm-hmm.
And run one all the way
all the way down.
So, all the way to the gate. Awesome. So like a hotel has one. So then when it's storming and shit, and then I'm gonna put a fucking boot. Like dudes coming in yesterday from the range. Fucking tracking mud through here. I need a thing that's like when you step in it, it's like a car. I need a fucking automated car wash for your boots.
You just need that. You just
thing
need
like
that,
the real estate guys have.
Yeah, the thing that you put your foot in there and put the plastic bag over there.
That might be a cheaper, but it's pretty impressive if you had like a boot washer.
A boot washer, yeah.
That'd be cool.
We just get a chair We get a big chair out there, and we'll have Tyler just sit out there all day and wait for people to come, and then he can clean their shoes before they come in.
Be a good midget job. Like if you came and we had a doorman that was a midget,
who was cleaning shoes,
shoe cleaning midget, we wouldn't have to feed him much. I'm gonna have I've got emails into 2 different places that do storm shelters. They'll come out, cut a hole in the garage floor out there. Through the slab,
those in the slab
and
ones.
Put a box in that has a fucking slide door, so we can still utilize the space and everything. But it has to be in the ground,
Yeah, but then you have a good storm shelter.
Like when you have because they're talking like these tornadoes that are moving in, like they're talking possibility F5s. Like F5s, they actually pull slabs up. Like
F5.
Like it doesn't just like pull your house away. Like the concrete is gone, like your bare earth. You guys were talking about hunting feral cats in Australia. A guy I work with would go what he referred to as ratting. 2 guys would grab a 12-pack of beer, hockey pads, helmets, and sticks, and about midnight drive down to the grain elevators next to Lake Superior. The elevators would be used to store grain for export on 1,000-foot boats. 1,000-foot boats? How big's a carrier?
I don't know. I don't know in feet.
1,000-foot boats for all over the world. They would pull up to the side of the building, get out, put the hockey pads and helmets. They would leave the sticks on the outside of the car, leaning against the front quarter panels, then get back in and turn off their car. They would drink a few beers, and after a half hour, say go. They would turn the car's driving lights on, jump out, grabbing the hockey sticks. There would be rats everywhere because of all the dropped grain, and they would start hitting them with hockey sticks. He said the rats would freak out and start running everywhere. They would try to see how far they could smack a rat. I like it.
That sounds like a good fucking time.
So
sounds like fun.
If you start looking up airgun hunting videos, you'll see a lot of dudes that farmers let them come out, and they'll just sit there just like a fucking sniper, man. They'll sit there and just...
It's really big in England.
They got some repeater air rifles you don't even have to crack. And they'll just fucking pile them up, man. These dudes will have fucking piles of rats. And then there's other dudes that hunt with, like, Jack Russell Terriers.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a dude that hunts with little weasels. And he's like the fucking Beastmaster. He'll pull 2 ferrets out and shit. And these things will just go out there and fucking catch these fucking rats almost as big as they are and fucking bring them back. Fucking wild. Whoa, calling me a liar. Whoa, Joshua, you calling me a liar, Hillbilly said. By the way, Chef is right. Hand in front of the camera, Skully. Stop slowing the process. Thanks, SOE and crew. And awesome podcast. PTTP. Derek's coming to SOE.
Josh is never right, by the way.
Derek's coming to the booth at Blade Show.
Okay.
He's going to be doing tattoos right there.
At the booth?
Yeah, because
Because
Tony's slacking, right? Microtech's slacking. So
I love you, but there is no fucking room for anybody doing tattoos in our booth. We don't even have room for us.
Well, we're gonna put them over at a specialty
Okay,
operation.
I see that. Put them over there.
So we're gonna do PTTP
Cool. You know what we should
tattoos.
do?
Where are you gonna get yours?
You know what we should do?
What?
I got a better idea. Let's get some scaffolding and bring it in.
I like it.
And make a raised platform.
Like the upper level offices
the upper
they
level.
have at SHOT Show.
Yeah, let's do it.
Beams that they charge me $800 for a cabinet, a display cabinet that's like 2 feet by 2 feet. What the fuck do you think those would cost? They want it. I can buy a real leather couch in Atlanta and bring it to the show and abandon it and leave it cheaper than I can fucking rent
4 chairs.
Like every year we go to Walmart and buy the nicest folding chairs they have. We buy like 6 of them and we just leave them there. We never bring them home. It is crazy the mess that it has become. And inevitably we forget. Like, it's funny because we'll go to Walmart as soon as we hit Atlanta, and we'll go buy clothes hangers and whatever we forgot. Yeah. And Amanda will just start piling carts full of liquids, like drinks and bottled water. And I'm like, who the fuck do you think is going to carry that shit? I'm like, don't buy any fucking shit that you yourself are not capable of carrying. Because like we're coming in fucking heavy. And we valet at the valet side. Like, those dudes love us. When they see us pull up every year, because we tip them fucking really well. They keep our shit right there. They know when we're coming out, our shit's cooled down, the air's running. But, like, it's a bit of a trek to get in there, especially with the shit that we're fucking moving in with. Every day. Whoa, calling me a liar. Worcestershire is the bomb in certain circumstances. Bomb.com. Metabo, pronounced Metabo, is German fine-grade kick-ass items. I didn't write the comment you read, but if you are industrial construction worker, you know they always get after it. Run smooth and will snatch your limbs off. That's the last thing I fucking need. I'm using a damn DeWalt, and it's almost twisting my wrist off. Like, look. See all those veins? I have no fat in my arms because that drill fucking broke it and it came out of my body.
You pooped it out?
It literally, like, that drill, literally, I'm like...
You Lester leaked it all out?
Like, I couldn't ride a bicycle right now if I had to. Like, it's bad. Like, it torques, and that's just a fucking DeWalt one. I need that damn extra handle that comes with it. So, Metabo, I use, have you heard of Festool? I think Festool. There's a couple brands when you start looking at, like, high-end woodworking, right? And there's Festool and there's some other brand, and then I love like Laguna tools because they have anodized pieces on them. There's like one piece of red on this super expensive nice bandsaw, but it all has vacuum shit, right? And none of that bullshit interchanges. So you've got this track system that all their tools lock in and you can cut a super straight line. But once you go green, none of the green shit, the Festool shit, none of it works with any of the other bullshit. And it's literally like you gotta use their air collector, and it's not that bad. But like if you're a tool guy, I don't make anything out of wood. I would love to. I just want to have a nice wood shop. But I hate sawdust, so I don't want to actually make anything out of wood. But I'm really intrigued when I walk into
woodworkers come in. And
yeah, we should have guest knife makers. You come build knives in our shop for this week, and we'll go from there. But Festool is pretty cool, and it comes in a fucking case. So, like, you know your shit, like all the DeWalts, right? We got 20 pieces of DeWalt out there, and they're just thrown on a table and kind of pushed in a pile, and they're fine. Festool gives you a case. So to have the equal amount of Festool tools as the DeWalt tools, it would like take this whole fucking wall up.
Because of the cases.
But they cost so much. You want to display them, but they're in the fucking case. You can't see them. And then you have like 50 cases on a shelf up high collecting dust and shit. You know they always get after it, run smooth, and will snatch your limbs off. Can't be weak wristing those monsters. Greatest corded items on the planet. Thanks, SOE and crew. Miss Gabby and Chef, John Skully and crew, 10% it till episode 100 and beyond. I'm in. Then we could carry, if we had all those corded tools, we could carry those nice Honda Whisperlight generators around that we never run on a regular basis. So we could have a special mount made in each of the razors to carry the Honda. And then we could tag in all of our Polaris videos, all our videos where we're tagging Polaris XP1000, we could tag Honda EU 1000. Fuck your products, Honda. Except for your generators. That guy is bullshit. A pharmacy technician is not making anti-venom. He came back and he actually said that, man. He said that a couple episodes ago. He said I should have said mixing up. All anti-venom is made overseas and shipped into the U.S. It's sheep, not horses, that are used in making the anti-venom. Harley,
I heard horses too.
I've always heard it's even called horse serum. Maybe something's changed. It's Chromag, right? Chromag or right? Chromag, something. Thanks for the killer podcast, guys. Love all your videos, James Blackwell says. Thank you, James. The shenanigan liar. Oh, Lord, have mercy. Said by a liar, Joshua said. Told to you by a liar, Joshua said. I think Joe Rogan is a flaming communist, but I don't think he should be deplatformed for it.
I don't know if he's I wouldn't say Joe's a communist. He cashes his checks, that's for sure. I wouldn't say he's a communist. Here's the problem with the world that Joe Rogan is in. The problem with the world that Joe Rogan is in is not, and it's not a bad thing, but he has surrounded himself with the people that he wants to surround himself with, and he's created this Joe Rogan utopia. And because he's created this Joe Rogan utopia with his gym and all that shit and the people he hangs out with, he thinks that small little universe that he's created is, you could duplicate it, that we could duplicate that across the United States and everybody would live in this little Joe Rogan utopia area where we'd all do DMT and decide that somehow we're all going to live in harmony. And the problem with that is you can't replicate that for 330 million people. For every person that is in that camp, there's going to be 10 different camps that are thinking completely different things. It's just not replicable. And
think about Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan has so much money. You and I cannot fathom what we would do with the amount of money Joe has. Not that he didn't earn it, not that he doesn't deserve
he earned it.
Joe Rogan lives in a world that we are not a part of. Joe's in clubs that we don't even know exist, right? So, like, Joe has a schedule set. I am sure Joe has handlers. Joe has trainers. At a certain time, somebody brings Joe his fucking meal. At another time, they're like, Joe, it's time to work out. Joe, it's time to do the chamber. Joe, here's this. Like, Joe's not doing that research. Joe has dudes doing that research. The guy you see on there looking shit up, there's interns, there's all kinds of shit there. So Joe lives in a world that is not the real world. Like, Joe didn't know how much that Tesla cost. Joe doesn't even know what model Porsche he owns. So it's just a whole nother world, you know? And it's not, it's like me.
Well, I would say just the mere fact that he bought the Tesla, like he was like, okay, I'll buy the Tesla only because fucking, what's his name? Only because Musk was on his podcast. So he's like, okay, I'll get a Tesla. But if you think about that, there was no thought whatsoever as how much does that car even cost?
Right.
Right? When you're in that club, when you're in the club where you have no financial boundaries, which he's a millionaire, he's not in the billionaire club, so that's a totally different club, but he is still in the club that we are not in the sense of, just like John said, he has access to things that, like,
just like the stem cell
Joe gets more free shit than we are buying.
You have to think that every person that comes on that show, Joe has access to those people. So like those stem cell doctors down in Panama, the performance enhancing pharmaceuticals and stuff. Like, Joe has access to that shit. And just think what's not being said on the show that Joe has access to. Like, Joe probably didn't buy that Tesla. Not that Joe couldn't, but the corporation probably bought that Tesla or leased that Tesla, or Tesla fucking gave it to him. I mean, who knows how that shit works? So, more power to him. Definitely not fucking hating on him.
No, I just don't think he's a communist.
No, I don't think
he's
so.
He's just a liberal.
I don't think so. Georgia is trying to ban recess and gym from public schools, and they are already teaching on laptops, being taught computer code in 3rd grade and presentations on Microsoft Office and PowerPoints like an Office, which is why you are not going to have public school very much longer. You already have schools that are remote satellite location. You are not like the school teacher. Like, that shit's going away. It's going away before you fucking think it is too.
Find a better if your school is doing that, find a better education system. And the only reason why I'm saying this is if you are teaching a 3rd grader anything that we are doing right now, if you are teaching them anything we are doing right now, by the time they are eligible to enter the world as an adult, that shit will not be. They're not going to be doing it. We will not be coding computers the same way 20 years from now that we are doing right now. It's not going to be the same. Microsoft probably won't even exist in 20 years because of the advancement in technology. If the minute a school system picks something up for teaching, like they're like, hey, we're gonna fucking start teaching Japanese math, it's already over. It's over. Your kids will not need that.
You go to school to learn how to learn, so that you can go off and learn on the path that you're going to go. Really, how fast are you? How quickly is it approaching where they're just going to download the shit you need? Like, you're going to go to sleep. I mean, we already have. You can listen to shit while you were asleep, and you will retain that shit while sleeping. I mean, how far are you from they're just going to fucking put it in you? I mean, it's coming. I heard Spirko talk today on a podcast yesterday, or today's podcast while I was driving. Ford Motor Corporation is laying off 60,000 jobs. I think he said 6,000 or 60. It was a fucking astronomical. But they're like, but it's white collar, so they're just getting rid of all the old people and all the fluff, and probably won't have to pay pensions by fucking getting rid of a bunch of people early, possibly. But one of the other things he mentioned is they came online a decade ago with the world's most technologically advanced car manufacturing facility, the largest and the most advanced in the whole entire world in Brazil. They're closing the plant down. And he's like, what's the takeaway to that? He goes, because the auto industry is moving to a new model. People are not buying cars. They just said, it was California or Texas, I don't remember, it's some like major state, right? Last year, they had a 10% reduction in people renewing driver's license. Not new ones, renewing. Mm-hmm. Now that could be deaths. It could be other shit in there that we didn't, hear the actual where those numbers were coming from. But you're moving to like Uber. He's like, in the major cities right now, people. That's why that's mm-hmm. what his takeaway was, and he might have had some information we didn't have. That's the reduction in the driver's license, is that people don't want to have to think about every car I have out there. Every fucking week I go to drive something that has a dead battery or needs some bullshit or just some shit happened to it that just time fucking happened to it. Like, we didn't even drive it. It just, like, it's from the time you get a vehicle, you are constantly putting money into the vehicle. So if you can just in fucking 15 minutes, Uber's ready to go. Fuck, I could be like, hey Amanda, let's go to the movies today. It takes fucking 45 minutes. I mean, the car's gonna be there before fucking she's ready to go. So, and then, Cadillac in all the major cities, Porsche has it now. Several other, but Cadillac's the one that stands out. You join this program, I want to say it's like $2,000 a month. You can trade your cars fucking 35 times through the year. So you want an Escalade to move some shit this weekend, you got your Escalade. They come to your place, they pick your cars up and detail them while you're at work. They service the car, they fucking drop you off a new car. You want a CTSV, you want a fucking whatever it is, you get to trade 35 times a year. You get to trade fucking cars. And you just join this, and that costs a little bit more. But I mean, really, when you think about it, when you lease a car or a very, a high-end car, your payments are $2,000 a month. Like the fucking the payments on the Toyota out there are right at $1,000 a month. Because I bought all the extra service and shit, which come to find out I didn't need, because the truck comes with 2 years of free service, right? But they tack that; they're good at that. You'll save 60%, So I bought that shit. But when we trade it
that's because we're old though.
They'll actually give me a check for all that money back.
We're old. We think about keeping something forever.
Yeah.
Like I'm having a hard time. I really need to just get rid of the Ford.
The problem is you wouldn't get $4,000 for it.
Yeah. I mean,
and you're like, man, I've put $20,000 into this thing. I know, man. That Suburban out there. I bought the Suburban for $4,500 because it was straight and clean. Put a $2,500 motor in it. Put another $6,000 in fucking all the other shit, the lockers and all the stuff. I've got $20,000 sitting in the parking lot. When I go to sell it, if I listed it for $5,000 today, some asshole will be like, "Will you take $3,500 for it?" Yeah, come on over. Bring your $3,500. You can watch me fucking throw a couple flares in it. It'll make a cool video. The reaction on your face, I'm gonna get a lot of views.
Yeah.
Chef, thanks for taking the time to swing in the bunker. Thanks, SOE and crew, for the awesome podcast. Yes, my generation, Generation X, I think will be working until we die, probably at work. Here in the UK, everyone loves the NHS, and rightly so. Sadly, it's been with us since the 40s for free. Now, anyone with sense can tell you the NHS is not free. It's free at the point of use, however we pay for it through our taxes. And there's the rub, people who pay tax. Yes, everyone pays tax in the UK, as there is a tax on everything. Though, what I'm getting at is the people who work and pay the highest tax. The rank and file who are employed and are pay as you earn, and by the highest rate. If you go self-employed, you can easily pay less tax. Anyways, all the handout monkeys see the NHS as another handout, and that's why the NHS is a bottomless money pit and is fucked into a cocked hat. I stole that from the film Ronan. So here's to you, John and Skully, and all the like-minded folk who have found these podcasts. Keep it up. All my love and best wishes. Right on, man. Paid off my student, Evan Dixon, paid off my student loans and all other consumer debt by my 28th birthday, over $109,000. Use Dave Ramsey's snowball method, baby steps. Work a full-time job, along with 4 other side hustles at any time. At 30, I own a house and rental properties. Most millennials are holding out for debt forgiveness from someone like Bernie. Screw that. I set myself free. Life is good. That's so think about like student loans, right? Where can you fucking get money and then take 10 or 15 years to pay it off?
Longer than that, you can,
little bites at a time. You can't do that anywhere else.
You can push that money. You can push that money as far as you want to go.
That's because they want you on that system.
Mm-hmm.
They want everybody to be one paycheck away from fucking homelessness. They need you that way. They need that fear. They need you beholden to them, and that's the deal with that shit. For you guys that don't know the debt snowball thing, it's take your smallest bill, pay it off and get rid of it. Take your next bill, pay it off and get rid of it. Sink as much money into it and get rid of it. Is it the smallest or the largest? I think it's the smallest.
It's the smallest.
You get rid of all the small ones, and then you take all that money
for doing the smallest first.
You take all that money and you put it into the next one, and you keep doing that. I've got friends that were doing that shit. I want to say Justin did that. Justin and Sarah. And all her shit's like, they're fucking paid off. It took them like 2 years. Fucking paid off all that shit. I want to say her student loans are all fucking paid off. Everything's paid off. Everybody's waiting for that shit to default. Fuck, I did it. I came here and lived and just like didn't do shit. I was just waiting for society to collapse. I kept buying fucking beans and rice. I mean, we were literally going to Nashville and bringing back $2,000 worth of the same thing. Like, it was canned tuna one week, and then the next weekend it was canned salmon. Like, we didn't eat any of that shit. We were ready, though. We were ready. I slept really good on my fucking $100 mattress that while I was waiting for the world to collapse.
It's 7 o'clock.
Oh,
wait,
is it?
we're 2 hours plus.
All right, we'll stop.
We don't have to. I'm just letting you know we're way into it.
I need to pee anyways. I still gotta fucking finish. I did legs.
I need to pee too.
I did the legs this morning. Still got half my fucking leg workout I gotta do.
Oh shit!
I look good. We need mirrors in here.
Did you get it? Did you get it all? Sure. That's looking a little small there. You might want to work on that. That one too.
I need this small. I'm getting there.